What is up, heroes? This is Midnight Zero, and welcome back to Let's Play Corpse Party Book of Shadows. In the last episode, well, at this point, you've probably seen the alternate endings, but I guess what's chronologically, maybe the last episode was the end of Chapter 2 and the beginning of Chapter 3. Regardless, we had to deliver something to YUI Sensei. We intruded upon her unlocked apartment, and now we're chatting with her cat, wondering what should we do now that we have these papers inside her apartment. As if it's not apparently, or it's not super obvious that you should just maybe drop the papers off on like the kitchen counter or something like that and leave. I was feeling pretty uneasy. Not only had I peeped into someone's home, I had walked in without a second thought. Moreover, this was where YUI Sensei lived, alone. In other words, a woman's apartment. No matter how many times I reminded myself that I was here on an errand, I couldn't help feeling that I not only crossed the line, but leaped over it. Yes, so much yes to this.
YUI Sensei!
YUI Sensei! YUI Sensei, where are you? I tried calling her name one last time. But as expected, there was no answer. So, what now? I was trying hard to avoid being too nosy, but my eyes inevitably began surveying the room. The apartment entrance led out immediately into the kitchen, and beyond that, there was a sliding door to some other room. I could see light through the gaps. I strained my ears, but there was nothing to hear, no signs of life whatsoever. YUI Sensei really must have been out. One more time. I tried calling out to her one more time just to put my concerns at ease. I felt like I'd seem even more suspicious if I stayed silent. This is true, but I think the longer you stay in the apartment, the more suspicious you are. I bet what's going to happen is YUI Sensei is going to come back from her errands and walk in on Satoshi in her apartment.
YUI Sensei! Mochida desu!
Still nothing. Maybe she was asleep on the other side of that door. Don't walk in the door.
Yeah.
No, Satoshi, no. This is not a good idea. Let's just have a little look-see then. Wait. Shaking my head furiously, I cast out that sudden impulse. That was a terrible idea, pure and simple. Entering the apartment unannounced was bad enough, but walking all the way in, opening the sliding door and peeking inside, that was just too much. Yeah, no kidding. Man, if YUI Sensei happened to come home and find me standing here, I'd be in pretty hot water, huh? No, scratch that. I'd be in plentiful, dense, scalding water. Monet meowed as if in agreement. Panicking, I once again surveyed my surroundings. I almost felt like there were eyes on me, staring with disdain. But of course, nobody was there. What was that sound effect? That sound effect, though.
Oh, そうだ。書き置きを残していけばいいんじゃないか?
Oh, right, I can just leave a note. Wondering why I didn't think of this sooner, I dug into my bag for some paper and a pen.
Yamazaki Sensei から頼まれたのでって書いておけばいいんだよな.
Yamazaki Sensei asked me to come by. That should be enough, right?
俺のノートでいいや.
I'll just use some notebook paper.
YUI Sensei
YUI Sensei, mukai ni iku. From the first game. I love that phrase. I don't know why. It's like when Yoshiki is writing on the podium, like the note towards YUI Sensei. It's like, YUI Sensei, we're like coming towards you. That sort of thing. Let's see. YUI Sensei. Crouching in the doorway, I ran my pen across the page. I brought class notes at Yamazaki Sensei's behest. Okay. Everyone has been worried about you. Sorry about barging into your apartment.
不用心だから鍵はかけた方がいいと思いますと.
Please, don't forget to lock your door from now on. Of course. As I was writing the note, I sensed a presence in front of me. Whoa, this music though, guys. This doesn't sound like we're going to be greeted by YUI Sensei. Until just a moment ago, this house had no signs of human life in it. But now, I could feel someone just standing directly ahead. standing and looking down at me. Huh? Fidgeting nervously, I put down my pen, raised my head slowly, and saw a white what? Slender ankle. Ankle? I feel like it's gotta be Yui Sensei. Oh my goodness. Don't do that to Yui Sensei, guys. Come on, don't do that to Yui Sensei. Shocked, I shot my head up, and there, standing before me, was Yui Sensei. Don't intentionally put her in this state of undress game.
Sensei.
Sensei? She was looking right at me, but she seemed decidedly out of sorts. Her hair looked disheveled, her gaze was unsteady, and her pajamas were in complete disarray. She was like a completely different person from the usual kempt educator we'd come to know and love.
Yui Sensei! 俺勝手に入っちゃって。
Yui Sensei, I'm so sorry to have entered your apartment without permission. Here. I stood up frantically and held out the note I'd been writing, but... Huh? Yui Sensei was just standing there, stupefied, with a completely vacant expression on her face. That's probably problematic.
Sensei?
Yui Sensei? I called out to her as gently as I could, but... She was really dazed. She seemed almost like a ghost.
Sensei! どうしちゃったんだよ!
Yui Sensei, what happened to you? I had a sudden uneasy feeling. Worried, I walked up to Yui Sensei, grabbed her shoulders, and tried to snap her out of it by shaking her. But instead... Huh? This just seemed to make her cough. Yikes.
Sensei!
Hey, Sensei! These were wet, productive coughs, and spit was shooting out of Yui Sensei's mouth with each one. That's gross. I frantically tried to shield my face from the spray, but my reaction to we don't need to hear this. That's not good. Your lungs should not be filled with that much liquid. I put a hand to her cheek and found it thick with a slimy film of saliva. Yikes.
大丈夫? Yui Sensei.
Are you okay, Yui Sensei? Yui Sensei hobbled back a little, then fell to her knees with a thud. She had completely sprawled out in the hallway, moaning and groaning the whole time.
Sensei?
This is where you call, what is it, 119, I think, in Japan? Yeah. Yui Sensei. Wiping the spatterings from my own face, I leaned over and took a better look at hers. Huh? It was bright red. She drunk? Strained breathing, a stuffy nose, and a visibly high fever on top of it all. She was sick as could be. Okay, I thought so. I was like, it's been pretty obvious, I think, that she's been sick. Are they gonna, like, stress the, like, bright cheek? It's like, oh, she's actually, like, hungover or something. I'm cold.
寒いの? でも、汗かいてるよ.
Cold, but you're dripping with sweat. Yeah, she definitely broke into fever. It's cold. I thought maybe her sweat had cooled her down, but then realized her disheveled pajamas certainly weren't doing her any favors. With her heart pounding, a mile a minute, and face red as a traffic light, I set about buttoning her up. Oh, Satoshi, no! Satoshi, no! That's not something appropriate in the slightest. Here, my young woman adult teacher, I have barged into her apartment without her permission, has appeared in front of me in a disheveled state, so I'm naturally going to grab her shirt and button it up for her. Yui Sensei, you know who this is, right? It's Mochida from school.
寒いならちゃんと布団で寝ないと。
If you're cold, you need to sleep under your
寝
covers.
ないと治るもんも治らないって。
Otherwise, you won't get any better. Ironically, it's not too bad, given that it's the cold perception from the sick person themselves, because a lot of times with fevers, there's an internal there's like a internal body temperature regulator. There's like a little thermometer that's like, your body needs to be at this temperature. And when you get sick with something that induces a fever, a lot of times, not all the time, there are a lot of reasons for fevers, but a lot of times when you feel cold as a result of a fever, it's because your body's internal like temperature setting for what its ideal temperature should be is set too high. So you perpetually feel cold because your body thinks your temperature needs to be higher than it already is, even though it's already higher than it should be. She absentmindedly extended her shaking arms like a zombie, slowly reopened her eyes, and looked up at me. It was the gaze of a severely fevered mind.
ゆい先生、
Tsukasa? Tsukasa? What? Oh no. Oh no, I figured something like this might happen. Tsukasa-kun must be a previous love interest, of course. And of course, even Yui Sensei now is subject to panty shots. Yui Sensei was clinging to me tightly. I couldn't move. I was frozen in shock. She began to weep. You've come for me, Tsukasa-kun.
司？
Who's Tsukasa? What a lovely surprise. I'm so glad you're here.
先生待って、人違いだよ。
Yui Sensei, wait, you've got the wrong person. It seemed like I wasn't getting through to her at all. This is where you forcibly remove yourself from the situation, Satoshi. And the sensation of her chest as she held me was making it virtually impossible to fight her grip. Come on, man. Come on, man. I was utterly powerless against this opponent. It's not like you can't think even in the face of boobs. Like, I never realized before just how soft a woman's chest really was. God, am I that weak-willed? I had to remind myself that Yui Sensei had me confused with someone else. And this is not something that's going to fly over well. Mustering all the strength I could, I gripped her arms and tried to pry them off of me. But she was a lot stronger than I anticipated and wouldn't let me get away. I'm sure, of course. I was so scared, Tsukasa-kun. I was so scared. Scared? I never thought you'd actually come. Is that... I think that's a sound effect for her boobs or something like that. As she squeezed me tightly, I felt as though my upper body might collapse under the pressure of her softest parts. Satoshi, please. I was blushing uncontrollably. Yui Sensei, please let go. And this all could have been avoided if you simply didn't intrude her apartment. Didn't, I don't know, mess around with the cat and everything. No, I won't. Sensei te ba. Come on, Yui Sensei. I struggled to wriggle free, but Yui Sensei only grabbed me tighter. Our bodies were getting more and more intertwined. This yabe na korea. And every time I squirmed, Yui Sensei would just pull me in even closer. Tsukasa-kun. This is maybe where you appeal to the fevered mind. You're like, Yui Sensei, yes, I am Tsukasa-kun, and right now, don't worry, I need to get something to care for you even better. I'll be back in just a second. As her chest rose and fell erratically, droplets of sweat slid down into her cleavage. I could feel the heat of her fever radiating off of her steadily encroaching face, as well as the shoulders I grabbed in an effort to push away. Stay here with me, Tsukasa-kun, please. I'm telling you, you've got the wrong person. Why are her eyes closed? Questions were swirling around in my head. Why was Yui Sensei crying? And who was this Tsukasa person? But I was most concerned for the state of her pajamas, which had become even more disheveled during our struggle. I was so concerned for her pajamas, I just had to button them up for her. I just couldn't leave. I couldn't get out of the situation. Satoshi, so concerned for her pajamas. Yui Sensei, your pajamas, your pants. They're sliding down. Tsukasa-kun, you're so warm. Yui Sensei, please. Realizing that not a single word was getting through to her, I sighed resignedly. I had taken care of Yuka any number of times when she'd caught a cold and drawn a fever, but I don't recall it ever getting this bad. Delirium is probably a next level. Yui Sensei was usually calm, collected, and rational. Who would have ever imagined that a fever could leave her so thoroughly discombobulated? Honestly, like, you should be able to separate yourself. Yui Sensei, seriously, pull yourself together. As a young guy, like, should be able to. I put more strength in my resistance, and finally her arms relaxed just the tiniest bit. But her expression changed drastically. No, please. Yui Sensei, I'm Satoshi Mochida, not this. This is like, maybe at this point you say, screw this. If anyone finds out this happened, if she realizes this happened, if we end up actually connecting right now and she comes back to her consciousness and we have to deal with this situation, everything's gonna get all screwed up. So I would just like, I'm out of there. We can talk about this another time, maybe when you're a little bit healthier. Please don't go, please. Yui Sensei was acting like a spoiled child. Slipping out of the shoes I'd still been wearing, I again drew close to her sprawled out form. This is why these problems keep happening, Satoshi. You can never remove yourself from the situation. There's no way I can just leave her here like this. I sure hope none of this seems too sketchy after your fever breaks. My friend, it's already sketchy. Yui Sensei let out a lethargic groan, perhaps in response to my quiet murmurings. At my wit's end, I grabbed hold of her and did my best to carry her into the back room. That's even more awkward. That's not... Oh, Satoshi. Gently willing her over to her unfurled futon, I then carefully laid her down, making sure I didn't drop her in the process. You're strong enough to do this, but not to get out of her grip, Then there was the matter of rebuttoning those pesky pajamas again. Those pesky pajamas, just gotta make sure they're all buttoned up. Can't just throw a cover over them and leave, like... When she's all alone by herself, God forbid, everyone sees her in her pesky pajamas all unbuttoned. I hesitantly pulled up her pajama bottoms and brushed away the stray hairs that were plastered to her brow with sweat. I had done my best to avoid seeing anything I shouldn't, but I am a guy, so my heart was pounding the whole time. Yui Sensei's pajamas were soaked through with sweat. She really might have been better off with a change of clothes altogether. Don't even tell me you're considering it. But no, that would have been going way too far, as if you haven't already, but at least you didn't decide to do that. Wish I could find a towel or something so I could at least wipe some of that moisture away. Noticing a convenience store bag carelessly tossed to the floor, I glanced inside. Hey, she already bought cold packs. Why wasn't she using them? Jeez. Yui Sensei, this might be a little cold, but bear with me, okay? So, this is okay. She's all covered up. You know, you're just sitting there on the side. You're not embraced by any means. You aren't seeing anything you shouldn't. You're simply caring. This is what it should have been from the very beginning. You should have been able to put yourself in this situation, Satoshi, if you wanted to. And it doesn't matter in this current state that her pajamas are buttoned up, does it, Satoshi? Alright, I think that'll help. It is really cute seeing Satoshi sit with the cat there. I placed one of the compresses on her forehead and pulled the covers over her. Yui Sensei appeared almost instantly relieved. She exhaled contentedly and her breathing became more relaxed. Finally, she was asleep. I thought it was going to be a finally she came to her senses and awkward moment ensues. Now you can leave. Now you can leave. Now you should leave. He's just waiting. Even in sleep, Yui Sensei seemed to be suffering.
モネなんだ先生が心配か
Oh, Monet, were you worried about your master?
だよな俺もここまでひどいことになってるとは思わなかったよ
I don't blame you. When Yamazaki-sensei said she was sick, I had no idea it would be this bad. Monet had coiled up on my legs without me noticing. I began absent-mindedly speaking to him. He mewed in response, and our conversation ended there, as my gaze was still fixed squarely on Yui Sensei.
さてどうしようか
So, what do I do now?
ゆい先生
Ah, Satoshi. Let the girls sleep. Let the girls sleep.
俺このまま帰っても大丈夫
Are you okay to be alone right now? She wasn't in any condition to respond. But
ゆい先生
Yui Sensei's hand had slipped out from under the futon and was gently grasping my pant leg. Yabe! Yabe! Get out of there, Satoshi! Get out of there! Hey. Get going already. Get going. I want to play Corpse Party. Her grip was much weaker than before. But I knew I'd probably regret it if I went home now. Yui Sensei just seemed really lonely.
仕方ないな
Well, guess I'll settle in then. Without disturbing Yui Sensei's hold on me, I took a seat beside her. For the time being, I figured I'd watch over her and make sure her condition didn't worsen. Occasionally, Yui Sensei's breathing would become ragged and she'd furrow her brow. She was in a pretty bad shape.
辛そうだな
Poor thing. Wasn't there anything else I could do? I glanced quietly down the hallway. I noticed when I carried Yui Sensei here that the kitchen near the entrance was perfectly neat and tidy. She probably hasn't eaten. There wasn't any indication it had been used that day at all. Is he gonna cook for her? You gotta be kidding me. That's such after maybe a one night stand or something like that. The girl is like, well, I guess it could go either way, but one person laying in bed with the other person cooks a meal, and here we've got Yui Sensei all sick while her significant other Satoshi is caring for her, doing such things as buttoning up her pajamas and putting cold packs on her and taking care of her by cooking food for her. Oh man.
飯食ってるのかな
I wonder if she's eaten anything. Monet's gaze shifted suddenly. I followed it and saw pet bowls laid out in the corner of the room. One dish was filled to the brim with water, and the other was piled high with dry cat food.
なるほどモネはちゃんと食べてるんだな
I see someone's eating well around here, huh?
熱出してあんな状態になっててもお前のことはちゃんと考えてくれてるんだな
Even delirious with fever, she's still taking real good care of you.
でもさゆい先生まずは自分の食事の心配をしようよ
But that's not good, Yui Sensei. You should be thinking about your own meals first. I shook my head at the whole situation, then glanced down at Monet, who was tilting his head as if trying to understand me. I broke into a wry smile. When I had pulled out the cold packs, I did notice some cheap convenience store food in the bag as well. I guess that was going to be her food for the day. Not exactly the best stuff to eat when you're sick.
米とあと卵くらいはきっとあるよな
There's rice and eggs at least.
卵がゆでも作ろう
You need a lot of protein when you've got some sort of a big immune response fending itself against your body. Or against some sort of a infection or disease. Maybe I'll make egg porridge or something.
先生
Oh, I bet he said chawamushi. I love chawamushi. Yui Sensei, may I borrow your kitchen? Oh god, Satoshi. It's like inherently good-hearted, but like you can't help but feel like he's just getting himself into more and more trouble and putting himself in these, quote, you can't see my air quote, helpless situations. Her face was bright red and her half-pained, half-contented noises provided me with no clear-cut answer to my question.
仕方ない。ユイ先生の代わりにモネに許しをもらおうかな。
Don't think I'm gonna get much out of her. How about you, Monet?
モネ、キッチンを借りていいか？
Do I have your permission to use the kitchen?
ありがとう。
Excellent. Thank you. Monet's cries helped assuage my guilt over entering a woman's apartment and borrowing her kitchen. I would hope so. I mean, it's not like a cat can really give consent for a woman, but not that I had any reason to feel guilty, I don't think anyway. I mean, circumstances were what they were. Oh, Satoshi. So naive. Still, I had this nagging sense that I should have somehow felt bad about what I was doing.
ユイ先生。
And yeah, you probably should. Excuse me.
ちょっと離れるよ。
Excuse me, please, Yui Sensei. I'm gonna need to get up. One by one, I gently peeled off each of the fingers latched on my pant leg. The expression on her face changed as I was doing so, from contented rest to mild annoyance, but there was nothing to indicate that she might wake up.
よし、作るか。
Alright then, let's see what we can do, shall we? As I stood up, Monet meowed happily and began tagging along at my heels. Aww. And Yui Sensei, now resting by herself in the bedroom, let out a sudden sneeze. Did that like snap her out of it? Oh. Whoa, what is that background? Huh? Why are we here now? So that's their tie? Why are we at school now? What happened? Why is that story relevant? Masako? Masaka? A new character? Masako.
ちょっとゆい
Tomoe. I feel like I've heard... I mean, I think it's a character's name in Clannad, but I feel like I've heard that in the first Corpse Party game as well. Come on, Yui.
かかったよ今くしゃみ
Gross. I just got sprayed. I'm hitting the X button, guys. I'm trying. Game, please. There we go. Okay.
ごめんごめんなんだか鼻がムズムズするの
Sorry. I've got a real tingle in my nose today for some reason.
まったくもう
Oh, wait a minute. Is this Yui Sensei's childhood? Are we playing as Yui Sensei? Oh my goodness. Are we like inside Yui Sensei's mind now and reliving her childhood potentially? Maybe? Question mark? Honestly.
ティッシュあれどこやったっけ
Tissues. Huh? Where'd I put them?
ああなければ私の使ってよせめてものお詫び
Oh wow, did I get that much on you? Here, use one of mine. It's the least I can do. That's so gross.
やった
So gross.
じゃあ私使う
Great, don't mind if I do.
私も持ってないよティッシュちょうだい
What? She was talking to me. May I have one too, please?
はい
Let's see. Here we go.
サンキュー
Thank you.
あんたたちねティッシュくらい常備しときなさいよ
You guys really should keep extras with you, you know?
面目ない
Well, sorry.
まったく
Mataku.
それで何の話だっけ
So, what were we talking about again?
そうそうだからさとうとう3年になっちゃったよねって話
You remember? We were talking about what it's like to be seniors now.
はあだねあと1年で卒業か
Oh, I know, right? Can it really be just one more year before we graduate?
卒業もだけど私たちそれよりもっと考えなくちゃいけないことがあるじゃない
Well, graduation is important. Don't forget there's life afterward to think about as well.
進路よ
Our careers. That's pretty important to think about too.
い
No, I really don't want to think about
正
that.
直さ、進路相談何回受けたって将来のことなんかはっきりしないっていうかさ。
Well, there is a reason we've been subjected to all those career counseling sessions, and it's because our futures are just big question marks right now.
だよね。どうするかな、ほんと。
No kidding. What are we gonna do with our lives? It's scary.
ゆいはもう進路とか決めてる？
Any ideas, Yui said? I was about to say Yui Sensei. Yui? You have any plans for the future? Do you have any plans for the future? I know this isn't that great of a cliffhanger, but we're gonna find out in the next episode. I don't really know much of what's going on. We have this interesting, to say the least, throw some air quotes around that interesting encounter between Satoshi and Yui Sensei, and now I think we're in a bit of a flashback. I think we're going a little bit into Yui Sensei's mind at her final year in high school, and I don't really know 100% why, but I feel like we're going to find out a little bit about her path towards becoming a teacher. I don't know when we're going to get back to Heavenly Host. I hope it's relatively soon. You guys know already that I'm not a huge fan of fan service, so I don't really appreciate the extra time taken to do silly things like that scene with Yui Sensei and Satoshi. I'd much rather prefer a very nice, gentle, like, bonding, like maybe running into her and like seeing her sick but not like super disheveled, and slowly like guiding her back to her bedroom, letting her lay down, and like not trying to button up her pajamas, not letting her hug him and everything, and just like maybe caring for him, maybe like making a small meal. Like that would be sweethearted and innocent. Granted, not like perfect given the whole like intruding and everything, but it wouldn't be what it was. But regardless, it is still Corpse Party. I know that is a part of Corpse Party. It's something I will tolerate, and I hope at least some of you guys enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to what Chapter 3 is actually going to hold. But until then, this has been Night Zero, and this mission is complete.